What's going on, guys? Fun with Knives back again. Got a knife comparison video for you today of the two knives you're looking at in front of you. If you're into the knife hobby whatsoever, you know exactly what these knives are. The Kershaw Skyline and the Kershaw Leek. Extremely popular folding knives from Kershaw, both considered Hall of Fame EDC knives in a lot of people's minds, mine included. And I was thinking about doing a review on the Kershaw Leek, and I kind of realized that there's nothing I can add to the knife community. I don't have any opinions that are vastly different from anybody's videos right now, where I don't think I could provide a whole video's worth of information that would be different, that would be unique. So I think I might just say that this will work, this will perform as the Leek's review. I recently did one on the Skyline, but it's kind of in the same boat. I felt like I was reiterating videos I'm sure you guys have seen before. So these knives, I think, fulfill the same purpose. They're extremely similar in a variety of categories, but they bring a couple different things to the table depending on which model you're interested in. And if you're on the fence, hopefully this video will kind of steer you in one direction or the other, or in my case, you might end up getting both. So before I start this knife comparison, I just wanted to read a comment I got just, I don't know, half hour ago or so from a subscriber. He commented on the why knives discussion video of mine, and it's honestly one of the best comments I've received here on YouTube. So I'll read that and tell you why it's been such a rewarding thing that I'm doing this YouTube channel. His name is Ian Snyder, and he said, a lot of reviewers have a cadence that is too slow, or they'll have these lengthy pauses while they search for words or run out of things to say, or they talk more than they need to. I've seen quite a few of these videos, and what you present is really balanced. Not too fast or too slow. Your thoughts are organized, you don't bloat your videos with irrelevance, and you sound genuinely excited about what you're doing. The last item is paramount, and you pull it off gracefully. Here's to many more. Guys, that is just an awesome comment. Us YouTubers know how it feels that your video is appreciated, that your manner of speaking and the way you convey information is entertaining yet informative. And honestly, guys, since I haven't had this YouTube channel that long, I started in just the spring of this year, and things have grown very quickly for me, where I didn't think this was going to be a thing. I didn't think it was going to be a daily thing to reply to comments and have video ideas and buy more and more knives. So this whole thing brings me a ton of enjoyment. I don't need to make money off this, guys. And honestly, even if I monetize my channel, I'm not going to be making very much. It's more for just enjoyment purposes. I really like what I do, and I've had tons of comments like that, guys. And I'm not bragging here at all. It's just the vast majority of comments that I've got are positive. They're constructive. I get criticism all the time, but they're constructive criticism. There are people saying, I like when you do this, or maybe you should try this. It's never, almost never, the negative comments where I consider blocking someone. I don't like doing that, but YouTubers know that there's some trolls out there, and occasionally you need to block somebody, or you need to completely disregard a comment or delete it, or whatever. And guys, 99% of the feedback, the discussions, the comments, the viewers that I have seem to be awesome people. I love creating an environment where people feel free to express their opinion and start a conversation on knife related topics or whatever it may be. So thank you guys, the viewers, you guys, my subscribers, for watching, for listening, to like and subscribe and comment. That it's just awesome. I really enjoy it, and I hope you guys too, and I hope my channel continues to grow. So thank you for that, Ian, and all of you other subscribers and viewers that regularly comment. I love seeing them. So on with this knife comparison, guys. So I believe that the Skyline is an in-house design from Kershaw, and then the Leek is definitely a Kent Onion design. Both are extremely popular. Both are going to be in the same price range. It's really anywhere from $40 to $50 for your standard models. And by saying that, I'm talking the normal steel that they both share, and normal materials in the handle. They do have upper end, higher end versions of these knives with better steel, better handle materials. different finishes and stuff, they're going to cost you a little bit more. But generally, guys, these knives cost around the same amount of money. So that's a good thing there. I'll give you guys the specs real quick. The Skyline has a 3 1/8 inch blade. Your closed length is going to be 4 1/4, making your overall length 7 3/8 inches. Your blade thickness is 0.09. Your handle thickness is 0.40 inches, and then your weight is 2.5 ounces. Now the Leek, 3-inch blade, 4-inch handle, 7 inches overall. Your blade thickness is 0.09, and your handle thickness is 0.35. And this one also weighs 2.5 ounces. So extremely similar in size, identical in weight. I do have the aluminum handled version Leek. I think the original design was a steel frame lock. This is the aluminum scales with the liner lock. I don't know the difference in weight or anything like that, but I know it's the same dimensions other than that. So we're just going to focus on the Leek that I own. So the steel on this, Sandvik 14C28N. I think it's a great steel. Good mid-range steel, easy to sharpen, holds an edge, fairly long, and fairly corrosion resistant. So those are shared on both models. The Leek does have a DLC coating, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but the normal Leek does not. So that steel, identical on both, and it's found on a lot of USA-made Kershaws. So it's a good steel. It's not a super steel, but it's definitely adequate for the things I use my knives for. The Skyline is just a little bit bigger in the blade, but we're talking 1/8 of an inch, not something you're going to notice in pocket or in hand while you're cutting. So the main difference of these knives, guys, is the blade shape. The Leek obviously has a Wharncliffe, and your Skyline has a spear point. Now, if you guys have watched any of my videos in the past, you know which knife I'm going to pick. It's the Skyline. I like the Skyline just a little bit better because I think that spear point that it has is just a little bit more functional, just a little bit more capable than that Wharncliffe. That being said, there's nothing wrong with the Wharncliffe. It just doesn't accomplish some tasks as well as that spear point, but accomplishes others better. So let's move on to something else. The assisted opening in the Leek is better than the action on the Skyline. It just is. It locks open your blade every time. You can use the thumb studs or the flipper just like the Skyline, but this is going to be riding on phosphor bronze bushings, and you can get this thing to fail. It's a manual action. There's no mechanism in there, so a lot of the time you could get some actions like that, and in other ones it's going to lock up. So if you need a blade to lock up every single time, it's an easy decision between these two. It's the Leek. That being said, the locks on this Leek and the Skyline are identical. They are liner locks. The Skyline only has one liner, but they perform exactly the same. The Skyline's liner is just a little bit thicker, but in all honesty, these fit the same philosophy of use, and that's EDC and a slim, lightweight one at that. The handle material on the Skyline is going to be G10, going to be more grippy, going to provide a better tactile feel than the aluminum or the steel on the Leek. That's kind of the other thing about the Skyline that I enjoy. The finger choil here and the simplicity of the handle really lend itself to better ergonomics, which is kind of unfair to say because Ken Onion's designs are known for their great ergonomics, and this grip is fairly neutral. It's a basic shape that really conforms to your hand. Neither of them have bad ergonomics, or I just like the Skylines personally a little bit better. The grinds are both hollow ground blades. They have both the same blade socket, 0.09. Very efficient slicing or cutting tools, with that spear point having a little bit better advantage there. Your thickness is negligible, where you have a 0.4 inches versus a 0.35 inches in the Leek. So nothing you're going to notice in pocket. Your standard clip on both these knives are not my favorite. They ride too high, so I've replaced both of them. The Leek has a slight advantage there, I think, because the clip sucks a little bit less. But I would definitely recommend getting a clip for either of these models if you choose to get one. Now, that being said, Skyline is my choice. I prefer this over the Leek by a hair. But one thing that does annoy me is that this is a little wide towards the flipper. It's a very streamlined design. Both of these are extremely good in pocket, but that flipper does get caught up a little bit if you have other things in the pocket with your knife, where this Leek flipper really doesn't. The safety on the Leek is pretty unnecessary. I don't really see the need. I mean, if this blade's going to be on the seam of your pocket, there's no way that this is going to deploy and hurt you when it's in your pocket, so the safety is kind of irrelevant. I'm definitely going to replace it at some point. I'm just kind of too lazy to get out the tool. So guys, in a lot of ways, these are nearly the same knife, and that's kind of hard to say because they're almost the same size. They're made out of really similar materials other than just the handle scales, and one isn't necessarily better than the other. I just prefer the G10 a little bit over aluminum in this case. Aluminum has always been my favorite handle material until titanium came into the equation, but I still like aluminum better than G10. But just the overall feel of the Skyline in hand is better. It really is. I like the blade shape a little bit more on the Skyline, but I don't like the deployment more. So both have their merits, and both are going to be recommended from any YouTuber, just about anyone you talk to that has one of these knives. Are they perfect? No, they're really not. And they're not the most capable blades in the world. And what I mean by that is that this, for example, the ZT-0456 can accomplish way more tasks than either of these knives. The deployment is a little bit more consistent than the Skyline. It's got a much stronger lock. It's made out of far superior steel. It's got a way better construction, but that is going to cost you in a lot of ways. It's going to cost you more money. That's a more premium knife. It's over twice the weight of both of those, and it takes up more pocket real estate, where you see that this is wider, this is thicker. So for what they're designed to do, guys, you cannot go wrong with the Kershaw Skyline or the Kershaw Leek. You really can't. I recommend the Skyline more often than the Leek, but you know, if you're really not digging the deployment, or you're not digging the, you know, the G10 or whatever it may be, the Leek is not a fallback. It's not a secondary option. A lot of people consider these Hall of Fame knives. They're the best on the list. They need to be on every forum list of what EDC knife under 50 bucks. These are it. And they're both USA made. That's one thing that, you know, you can't ignore, that it's great to support the US, to support the workforce, to get knives that have this quality, fit and finish at under 50 bucks usually. So thanks guys for watching. Hopefully, you know, you found this entertaining somewhat and a little bit informative on the Kershaw Leek and Skyline. And remember, have fun with your knives.